Okay, good afternoon everyone, welcome back to the channel. It is Wednesday, today, 2:30. Yeah, 2:30 in the afternoon. Apologies for some noises that you might hear as we go through. We've got the fan in the background, without that I would be sweating too much. And also we've got heavy rain showers at the moment with thunder in the background, so if you hear a distant rumble you'll know what that is. Right, the purpose of today's video is to talk really about the differences between the West, anywhere in Europe, particularly the UK, and the differences between there and here. So if anybody's going to come to the Philippines, or you're thinking about coming to the Philippines, we're going to go through some of the things that you will find pleasant, obviously, but other things that not that you'll find unpleasant, but things that you have to be aware of before you come here. Now, I've been here, I was here for the whole of July, then I went back to the UK, and I came back out here again on the 2nd of October, and I've been here since then. So really only 2 months in total. But in that 2 months, it's enough to get to know a lot about the Philippines. So I'm not going to talk about good things and bad things, because in my opinion there's no such thing as a bad thing about the Philippines. But there are things that we need to be aware of as foreigners coming into the Philippines, because things are different here. That doesn't mean to say they are bad by any means, but things you need to be aware of. And it's better that people know about that before you come. And it's not a bed of roses here. There are things that are completely different than the West, and we'll go through them individually. But first of all, not really the good things, but my opinion on some of the good things that I noticed with coming here in the Philippines. First of all is the Philippine people. Yeah? Now, I'm not going to be talking all the time. Clyde's going to chip in a little bit as well, and feel free to.
Yeah.
Don't.
I will. I will try my best to talk.
In other words, I talk too much. All right. But yeah, the Philippine people, they are a wonderful race of people. I've never met somebody that I wouldn't say is a wonderful person here. Now, I'm not just trying to paint a good picture here. It is honestly the truth. It's a bit of a cliche to say that the Philippine people are really nice people, and everybody says it, but until you come here and experience it yourself, it's difficult to understand what that means. They are incredibly nice. Wherever you go, there's always a smile. There's always a good morning or good afternoon, or mayong buntag, or hapon buntag, is it?
Mayong hapon.
Or mayong hapon, which is good afternoon. And mayong buntag. I need to practice a little bit more of my Cebuano there. So there are a lot of good things. Philippine people is especially one of them. They are so sweet, they're very polite, and like I said, all full of smiles. The calmness of people here as well. There's never any anger. I've only ever seen one example of anger, and that's when we were sitting in a restaurant just next to your family house.
Okay.
Remember, there was 2 cars, or 2 vans in fact, going down the road.
Yes.
And they were blowing the horns at each other, and whether they were mates and they were just playing around, or whether they were having a sort of what we would call a road rage incident, I don't know, but that's the only anger I've ever seen. I've never seen 2 people argue. I've never seen anybody drunk, causing a nuisance. Everybody's so calm. The other good thing here is the weather. Well, just as I'm talking about that, you can probably hear it. We've just got another rain shower coming on, which might get quite noisy, so I apologise for that. But the weather is more or less constant in terms of temperature. We do occasionally get a thunderstorm coming over, which we've got at the moment, and we get rain. Obviously, it's a tropical country, you expect that, but the weather is more or less constant. The temperature is more or less constant. Next on the list here is friendliness. They are very, very friendly people. And again, going back to what I said before about the Philippine people, to start with, that is quite noisy. I think we'll pause the video. We'll come back when this rain shower is finished.
A few moments later.
Okay, we're back. That was very intense rain there, so it was making such a noise, and we had to stop. What we were talking about, the calmness of people, the weather. We were just talking about the weather, and that rainstorm came on. Some really close thunder as well, but it's passing over now. Yeah, then we talked about the friendliness of people. Next subject really is the acceptance of foreigners. That kind of relates back to the people in the Philippines are so friendly as well. Everywhere I go, I'm accepted as a okay, I'm a foreigner. I get funny looks, you know. What is this white dude with white hair? But there's never any animosity or anything towards myself or any other foreigners that I know of. Next on the list is lack of anger. I mean, I've already kind of covered that. The Filipinos and Filipinas never seem to get angry. Well, I've never made you angry.
No, I just give it. Okay.
So you've never got angry because you hold it in?
No.
No, I've never given you cause to be angry, have I?
No. Well, we are human. Anger is a feeling, right?
Yeah.
So we feel that also, if we need to.
Oh yeah, of course.
Yeah. So far.
So far. That's a thing that comes up in our conversations all the time. I keep asking, are you still happy? Yeah, so far.
Okay.
Next on the list is the pace of life. The pace of life here, as you can imagine, is a lot slower than the West. Things are done in their own time. Philippine time, you can call it. Nobody's in a hurry, nobody's in a rush. You get one or two motorcyclists that tend to be in a rush, but apart from that, you know, there isn't deadlines to keep to. Over in the West, we're governed by the clock. Everything has to be done by a certain time. Everything has to be done that minute or 5 minutes ago. Here, it doesn't matter. Time stands still, more or less. It's really relaxing. You're not under any pressure to get anything done. I mean, we've had several meetings we've had to go to regarding the house, which is another video. And this is somebody who's quite authoritative in this company that we're talking to. And they're always an hour, 2 hours late, sometimes more than that. Time has very little relevance here, which is a good thing. Next on my list is safety and security. No matter where I've been, and I haven't been everywhere, I must admit, we've toured around a little bit, we've been to some waterfalls and places like that, but I've always felt safe. I've never felt unsafe. I've never felt that I was in, you know, as a foreigner in somebody else's country, I've never felt insecure in any way whatsoever.
That's good.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is good.
And that, again, goes back to the Philippine people. They're so nice and so accommodating. One thing, however, I wouldn't want to get on the wrong side of the Filipino, because at the end of the day, you know, it's their country. But yeah, I haven't noticed any of that. Now we'll go on to some other issues which I wouldn't say are bad things at all. They're just different than ours in the West. Have you got anything to add before we start that?
Well, about friendliness, I think we are born friendly.
I would agree with that.
Yes, and we are noted for being hospitable. Yeah, as what you observed yesterday, we attend the party.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it was so nice, and you felt amazed by that because you treated like special. Well, it's normal for us. It's not that you are a foreigner, but it seems that you are strangers to
Yeah.
them, and it's normal for us. It's very friendly.
Well, that sums up the whole of the Philippine people, to be honest. We got invited to our next door neighbour. We got neighbours that live next door, and we got invited to a birthday party yesterday at lunchtime. So obviously we went, and I wish I'd taken the camera and filmed it actually, but I didn't feel right doing that because if it was our own party, then yeah, the camera would be on all the time. But as soon as we got there, because we were invited, not just because I was a foreigner, and the only foreigner there, but I think because we were invited guests, two people gave up the seats and gave us to them. Now, I tried to refuse that, but you can't refuse it because they insist. And then we were handed drinks eventually, and we put the drinks on the ground. Oh no, that wasn't good enough. Somebody else gave up their stool, so that we could use it as a table. And I said, no, it's fine, I'll hold on to it. No, but they insisted. So it's three people that gave up seats to accommodate us because we were invited as guests, not just because I was a foreigner. And then we were the first invited up to go and help ourselves to the lechon, the roasted pig, we would call it, the roast hog. And we were the first ones to go up. And there must have been a good 30, maybe 40 people there,
Yes.
including all the kids. And we were the first invited to go up. And that is the friendliness of the Philippine people again. You're an invited guest, so you're treated with a lot of respect. I think being a foreigner maybe had something to do with it as well, I don't know, but certainly it fascinated the kids. There was one little kid, I remember, he stood at the side of me, staring at me, probably at the nose, thinking, how can a nose be that big? But it was so cute.
Yes.
Yeah. Anyway, other things that you would need to be aware of. Now, I'm not saying these are bad things at all. It's just you are, as a foreigner, if you're thinking about coming to the Philippines, you are a foreign person coming into somebody else's country. So things will be different. And these are the differences that you need to be aware of. First of all, traffic. No matter where you are, there is going to be traffic. More so in the city, of course, in Cebu City. And I've driven a car around Cebu City, and it's a bit frightening. Traffic junctions, for example, nobody has right of way, everybody wants right of way. But it works. I've never seen any accidents. You've just got to be aware of how they drive here in the Philippines on the roads, and what the traffic does, and the priorities that they have. And lane discipline is just non-existent. So you have to, as a foreigner coming into here, you have to adapt to that. And what I would strongly recommend is that you break yourself in gently. Have a look at junctions before you start trying to drive in the city anyway. When you get out into the provinces and in the countryside, as we would call it, then you've got other things you've got to watch out for. Dogs are all over the place, and they, generally speaking, stay at the side of the road. They've got a little bit of road sense. But that disappears now and again, and they just run across the road. You've got children walking alongside the main road, and there's vehicles, motorbikes, tricycles and everything going past really quite fast. They're used to it. But again, you've got to be aware of the fact that they may step out into the road a little bit further. Oh, here comes the rain again. We'll see, it might not get too loud. Chickens, not quite so many of them, but there is a lot of things you've got to be watching out for all the time when you're driving. Motorbikes flying everywhere, come up the inside of you, outside of you, the opposite direction than you expect them to, and they'll come out onto the road. They won't stop and wait for a giveaway. They'll just come out. So all those things you've got to be very, very aware of. The road conditions, generally speaking, the roads are very good. But you can suddenly come across, if you're out in the provinces, you can suddenly come across the end of a concreted area and it goes into a dirt track. and then goes back onto concrete bed. Sometimes the concrete's not in very good condition either. Yeah, we notice that.
Yeah, but the government allotted lots of money to repair management.
Yeah. But generally speaking, the road conditions are quite good. You've got to be aware of that it can break up now and again. The next thing on the list is the heat. It's fairly constant here. It's a little bit cooler right now because the sun's gone, because we've got all these rain clouds coming over. I hope that rain's not too loud.
I hope so.
I hope you can still hear us. The heat very rarely changes. The only problem that gives me is in the evenings when you're trying to sleep. We have got aircon in the bedroom. It doesn't work too well. So I would strongly recommend that you find somewhere, if you're going to stay somewhere, try and get somewhere that at least has aircon in the bedroom. Humidity, I've never had a problem with. The humidity, I was told, was going to be really high here. It is high, but it's not caused me an issue at all. The other thing I want to talk about is tampo. Now, for those of you who don't know what tampo is,
Say it again.
tampo.
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 Yeah, tampo.
You explain what tampo is. Now, before she does, Clyde does not do tampo. Alright? So, and I haven't experienced it firsthand. But you explain what tampo is.
Tampo is a feeling that you don't like to talk, or something that you feel bad emotionally or mentally. Yeah, but so far.
So far, yes, so far again. So far.
I didn't feel that with you.
No.
No. Because if as we get mature, why is it that we are going to spend time of feeling tampo or something like that?
Yeah.
Why we need to talk? We must have to talk instead of having that feeling tampo. That is a sign of immaturity.
I think that's one of the things we have done from the start of our relationship is talked about things. And that kind of gets rid of the need for a tampo because we talk about it. We talk about issues before they become an issue.
Yeah.
Really.
Well, before when now that I am born again Christian, I can deal with it. But before I was not saved yet. I always make tampo. And I'd rather not to talk for 1 month.
For a month?
With that person or something, if I have that feeling tampo. But it's not good. It doesn't help. You don't have peace. You don't have joy. So you are not really good mentally, emotionally, and spiritually. So it does affect you, especially in your health. So maawa ka naman sa sarili mo. You don't know that?
No, I don't know it.
Have pity in yourself.
All right.
Yeah, so have joy in your heart.
That's it.
Yeah,
that's the secret.
That's the secret. Be happy.
Now, for those that have not been in the Philippines and not experienced tampo, the nearest I could come up with is a huff, we would call it.
Oh.
A huff. Or somebody goes in a huff. It's not quite the same though. The reason why a Filipina would go quiet and go into tampo is because she would rather be on her own in a room alone rather than say the wrong thing. That's my take on it. Is that about right?
Well, for me, sometimes I am silent. It's because I am busy. And I am focused. And I am concentrating on the things that I do. So I'd rather not talk first, and you should have to wait.
That's me told.
Yeah, I want to finish on time. Especially when we're going to go somewhere and stuff like that. So.
Okay.
But if I am silent, it doesn't mean I make tampo. No.
No.
It's a waste of time.
Just the level of concentration is higher.
Yeah.
So that's tampo covered. Next thing is internet. If you rely on the internet, then you're going to have problems until you sort it out. It took me, after I got into this apartment, it took 2 weeks to sort out the internet. I'm not going into great detail what we did, but eventually we did get the internet we've got now, which is, it's a satellite system. We've got a satellite dish installed on the roof now, and that goes direct to a mast which is about 9 kilometres away. And that works very well. I mean, the speed is not brilliant, but it's enough. Whereas before that we were relying on prepaid Wi-Fi. 2 different types we tried, and that wasn't successful enough. It took me 2 days to upload some of those videos, early videos, onto YouTube. Now it takes about 2-3 hours, which is a lot less. There is faster, PLDP, is it?
PLGT.
Yeah, that's faster apparently. You get up to 150 megabytes per second, but it depends where you are. I think you've got to be close to the main road to get that. Next is the speed of service. I have not seen a big problem with that. What I mean by speed of service is if you go to a restaurant, you order something, how long do you have to wait to get it? Now, back home in the UK, once you've been waiting about 15 minutes, you start getting a bit irritated. Well, don't do that here. It can take longer, but not a lot longer. We've had to wait a while, maybe even half an hour, 40 minutes at times. But hey, it's not a problem. You know, adapt to it, get used to it. That's my advice. You want to add anything?
The reason why they keep us waiting or a few minutes or something like that, it's because they did their best.
Yeah. Well, you can see that.
Up and doing the preparation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What I've noticed about it is the times we have had to wait a long time is the restaurant generally has been quite busy. And you can see that they're all really busy doing things. So they're not lounging about not doing anything. That would be a completely different thing. But you can see that they are really working hard to prepare the food and stuff. And yeah. So you know, there's good reasons why you have to wait long. And the food's good. Well, when I was here in July, we had a bad pizza, I think. Yeah, I was ill in a couple of days after that, but for a couple of days. But yeah, generally speaking, the food is good in the restaurants. Another thing is cleanliness. Food preparation areas are spotlessly clean. A Filipina, in particular this one here, pays a lot of attention to cleanliness in the home. So cleanliness is a big thing with the Philippines. It might not look like it from the outside, looking in, but once you get inside, if you know what I mean, yes, the cleanliness is important. Hygiene, well, if you're in a tropical country like this, you do sweat a lot. I have never had a problem or never noticed anybody smelling of BO because they're sweating all the time. And you have
We hate that.
2 showers a day.
Yeah,
Yeah.
or as much as possible.
Yeah.
Thrice a day. We'll take a bath. We'll take a shower. We'll take a bucket.
Right. There's no such thing as a bath here. Well, I'll tell a lie, there is. But when a Filipina says she's going for a bath, she's going to stand and pour water over herself with a bucket. That's a bath. A shower is a shower. I have a shower. I don't have a bucket. A bath, sorry. Oh, that's another story about a bucket in a toilet, remember? Oh no, we'll leave that to another video. Oh,
because you usually said that I will take a shower. Yes. And how about Filipinos that don't have a shower? What do we say? So I will take a bath.
They go for a bath, yeah.
Yeah, we go for a bath, and then so we use a bucket, so I will take a bucket.
You stand sometimes fully clothed. Well, here you wouldn't, but outside when they have a bath, they're fully clothed and they just pour water on their head and wash themselves and rinse. And that's what they call a bath. To us in the UK, a bath is a tub that you fill with warm, soapy water and fall asleep with a glass of wine.
We had a topic about bucket, guys, with me and my sister Hazel, so that's why.
So there's a story going to come out sometime. Next on my list is health and safety. What is health and safety? Right. It's one of the things that I'm heavily involved in back home, so I do notice the differences between the UK anyway, in terms of health and safety, and here in the Philippines. And the health and safety just doesn't exist from what I've seen. On the building sites they wear hard hats, I've noticed that, and yellow vests at the big building sites. But we got a house built here, and how they get up a height, well, it's frightening to watch it, but there's never a problem. But health and safety really doesn't exist that much here. Last thing on my list really is sending money to the Philippines.
Oh.
Yeah.
What? Okay. So how is it sending money here in the Philippines?
Well, it can be tricky. We had a lot of problems. We used Western Union at first. When I was building the house, I was sending money here for the house build, and the Western Union they blocked me at one point, and I had to phone them and speak to them on the phone and plead with them. I said, look, this money's been sent for a genuine reason. So we had to, what you had to do was take receipts in to where you pick up the money.
Yep.
To prove that we were building a house, because that's what I said it was for. And you had to prove that by showing receipts.
Yeah.
I had to write an email to them explaining why I was sending that
not
money.
only receipts, but an evidence that we are in a relationship. Why you keep me sending money? Why you keep me sending money?
Yeah, I mean that's only fair, because what they're trying to do, they're trying to protect me, because there are a lot of scams where Western people or foreigners get scammed out of money. So they're really doing it just to protect me and to make sure it is a legitimate reason. But that took quite some time. And then I started using, they've got very low limits on Western Union, so I started using Remitly. And I've not had a problem with them. A little bit more expensive, I think, but they do it differently. I think the actual cost to send money is probably about the same. But now I can use either Western Union or Remitly, whichever one. But sending money is difficult. You've got to be careful, particularly if you're sending money often and large amounts. I think that would cause issues as well. So bear that in mind. Have more than one option open to you to send money if you need to send money to the Philippines.
And in Remitly, this is very nice. Yeah, though expensive for the charge. Yeah.
Yeah.
But we Filipina can get that money in mostly of the remittance company.
Yeah. You've got far more places where you can get the money.
Yes.
Yeah, pick up the money. If you use Remitly, there's a lot more places where your Filipina can pick up that money. At Western Union, you can only pick it up with Western Union office. The difference between the two, Western Union give you a very good rate, exchange rate, and a very low fee. But Remitly give you a far better exchange rate, but charge you, well, in the UK it's £3.99 per transaction. Now I think that would go up if you sent a lot of money, but from what I was sending, small amounts really, it was £3.99, but they give you a far better exchange rate, more like the bank rate, which is about 65 pesos to the pound at the moment. So it swings around much. You need to do your sums and look into that. In the description below I can put down the email addresses for Remitly and Western Union.
A few moments later.
Sorry about that. This camera that I'm using, which is a Canon G7X, if anybody knows that, Mark 1 I think, or Mark 2. Mark 3 is the new one. It only allows to record for 20 minutes and then it automatically stops, and it's the maximum I can set it to, I think. So that's why there's a brief pause. But I think that's about it. Is there anything else you want to add?
Nothing.
No, nothing?
Nothing. Nothing.
I thought you wrote some notes down.
Oh, it's okay.
Oh.
It's out of the top. It's out of the topic.
It's out of the topic, okay. Well, that's it, everyone. That's again, all the things that I said about the Philippines are not. It's not a negative thing. It's a wonderful country, but you just remember, as a foreigner coming into the Philippines, these are the things that you need to be aware of. There's a lot more than that, but that's the ones that I talked about today. And you need to change to their way of doing things. You're a foreigner in their country. Don't expect them to change to what you do or what we do in the West. That just doesn't work. And you'll, particularly when you're driving a motorbike or a car, just be patient. Fit into the way that they do things. Don't expect them to change to our ways, because that's not right. We are foreign people in their country. We've got to respect that. And as long as you do that, you won't have any problems, I think.
Yeah. You need to be calm also.
Yeah, be
because
calm.
if you want us to change the way you do it in your country, maybe you will not like.
No.
Especially when we talk about calmness of people, when we talk about friendliness. If we change that, then you don't like.
Exactly.
If we change about cleanliness, if we change about hygiene,
Yeah. I
so
mean,
you might not like. So better to stay as we are. Stay as we are.
I totally agree, because if you all changed to the way we did it in the West, the Philippines wouldn't be the same thing. It wouldn't be the same place.
Yeah. So you better not. So if that's the way, then we will change the way you are in your country. Then there is no such thing as a reason why you choose a Filipino, because it's the same.
Exactly.
In terms of attitude, in terms of cleanliness, in terms of friendliness. So better to stay in your country, and you don't spend more of coming here.
Yeah. I think one of the exciting things about coming here is noticing the differences.
Oh yeah.
And accepting them for what they are.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Anyway, it's been quite a long video, so I apologise for that. I hope it's been worth it, and I hope you've got something from it. So please give us a thumbs up, and also thumbs up, and also subscribe. Hit that subscribe button, and that way you'll be notified of any new videos that we post and all those things. And leave us a comment. If you like the video, give us a comment, tell us why, and if you've got any questions, as always, feel free to put them in the comment section below. I do make an attempt to answer every single comment that is made.
Okay.
So, yep, hopefully I'll get round to doing all of those. So, everyone, thanks for watching, and we'll see you on the next video.
Bye.
Bye-bye.